Hey guys, my name's Garland Sullivan. If you don't know who I am, I'm mainly an RA seller. I'm out of Jacksonville, Florida. And before we get started, this is going to be a little different than most other presentations. I'm going to tell you more about my business, what we do on a day-to-day. And then I want to just make sure I'm there for you guys and open up the floor to make sure that you have any questions to ask me directly. That way we can really just help you guys get past any humps that you're having in your business. So before I get started, I have a confession to make. 8 years ago, before I started selling on Amazon, I didn't have a job, I was broke, and I started something that I've yet to finish. College. So since then, I started selling on Amazon. This is my business partner, Max, and I. We've started selling on Amazon full-time in 2014. And since then, we started with $6,000, and we've tremendously grown our business in a relatively short amount of time. Just to give you an idea of how much we've grown our business, this is our last month's revenue. And this is basically just the reselling side of our business. We also do private label, wholesale, and online arbitrage. But this is mainly just the wholesale, online arbitrage, and retail arbitrage. I just want to talk about the retail arbitrage side of the business today. So, life in the daily shopping spree. As a retail arbitrage seller, you know that you go to the stores every day, and it's really exciting. You buy as much stuff as you can, and especially when you're starting, you fill up the whole garage, you fill up your whole car, you get back to your place, and you have to spend hours shipping it out to the people. It's a huge pain in the butt. It takes forever. It sucks. So this is the life of a daily shopping spree. So your business instantly becomes a shipping business, not a buying business that you'd like to just focus on. And so now you're spending all your time spending money shipping out product. Now, the only way that you can grow and really excel your business is you have to have someone prep for you. Well, now you're having a stranger come in your house, have access to your family, and has access to your whole life. That can be terrifying. It's awful. Absolutely awful. So what do? You let go. You're done. You finally hire someone. You hire someone, and it's a great step for you, which is huge, but it's scary at the same time. Which is usually the biggest and most biggest hurdle for a lot of people, is really letting go and giving it up access to what you do on a daily basis to people. So for example, hiring someone to go out and shopping, you think that they're going to go instantly become your direct competition. They have access to all your gift cards, all your credit cards, and you're scared frantically. So that's a really tough part in your business, and that's probably where a lot of you guys are. Is you're in the point where you think you're ready to take your business to the next level, but you're scared of letting go. So this is the first thing you got to do. Then you put the shovel in someone else's hand. They do the work for you. Now, this is also really important to have some sort of accountability. So when you're having these buyers go out and buy product for you, you need to make sure that whatever they're buying, whatever they're obtaining in their car, there's checks and balances. So for example, you're going to Nike, you spend tons of money at Nike, you put it all in your car, and you want to make sure that they didn't forget anything or use some funds on something else. So what we do is we have a VA that checks every single bit of our transactions. So they are looking at what was spent, then what was sent out in the inventory lab to make sure that everything was accounted for and nothing was skewed. Now, the only issue that they will not be able to see are the products that Amazon says you can't send any more of these products in. You can't send any of your Nike free runs. You can't send any more of those in. And they just say, hey, you just got to wait there. So you know on hand in your warehouse or your garage that that's where it is. Also, your buyers are going to screw up. They're going to buy stuff that's not good. And so what do you do in this situation? We return it to the store. And sometimes it can be, difficult. You don't want to ruin that relationship that you've built with your store manager. And so that accountability is so important, especially when you're growing your business, because without that accountability, they can basically do whatever they want, whenever they want. So with our business, we've been able to establish a vision. And our vision is, in the next 5 years, we're going to be a $100 million company. Now, how are we going to get there? We build a team. And this is a picture of our team. Whenever we do something great or have an awesome month of sales or whatever, we take our guys to Topgolf and we reward our guys. I think that's so important on your team. We also offer 401k. We have health benefits also. We cover health insurance. 75% of what health insurance would be, and they all get if they're an employee, they also get 4 weeks paid time off. So this is how we pay our guys. I don't know if I even should be sharing you. Can you even see that? That's all pretty rough. Well, anyone here use Inventory Lab? Wow. So this is how we pay our guys. Basically, there's supplier. You go to supplier profitability under reports, and if you're a, say, salary worker, I know that's hard to read. I wish it wasn't so hard to read, but you go to the reports in your supplier profitability. You take that profit that they've made in over the last 2 weeks' time of whenever the deposit came through, and if you're a salary employee, we pay them 12% of the gross profit off of the supplier profitability tab. Now, some things that isn't included in this is storage fees at Amazon. So how long that item was sitting there at Amazon if it sold, those fees aren't being taken out. And so if they're a full commission buyer, they're getting 17% of the gross profit, which is completely different. I mean, if you're a salary, you're getting your hourly wage plus the 12% commission. And if you're a full commission guy, you're getting 17%. Our satellite location people, so this would be like someone that has a place in, say, Miami, and this person in Miami ships and preps and packs and does everything. He doesn't drop, or if he drops off at a prep center, he gets 25%, but he pays for all the costs. So that way he's getting hit with all the fees of the labor intensive, the how much it costs to get it prepped. That way it's about the same as the 17% person. Oh. So strengths and weaknesses. This is something that you really need to know and understand about yourself before you do anything. What are you best at? That's the first thing you need to do, is make sure that you know what you're best at, and then you know what you're worst at. If you're awful at accounting, like me, I don't know who else hates accounting. Well, I hate accounting, and it's absolutely awful. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hand that over to and outsource it to someone that is much better at accounting than I am. And so other thing that we really focus on in our business is building relationships. So whenever we go to the store, we make sure that they know that we care about them. We show that we care. We make sure that they know who we are. They keep in touch with us. They call us when there's a sale going on. So for example, we have a team of buyers that go to Orlando regularly. We're out of Jacksonville, Florida. And Nike managers or ASICS managers or Converse managers or Merrill managers will call us whenever there's a sale to make sure that we're on top of it and making sure that they are hitting their quotas. They want to make sure that they're hitting their quotas, and if you just by saying, "Hey, look, I know that you need to hit your quotas, so how can I help you how can I help you hit your quotas so you can help me?" And that's the biggest thing, is building that relationship, showing that you care, remember their name, remember their son's daughter's birthday. You know, those are the little things that really add up, and they're going to go out of their way to make sure that they help you. And honestly, knowing their name or their dog's name or whatever they talk about with you. So you say, "Hey, Johnny, how's it going?" "Oh, it's going pretty good. Sarah's been sick lately, so it's been kind of rough at the house." And I'm like, "Dang, I'm sorry to hear that." The next time you see him, say, "Hey, how's Sarah doing?" They are instantly amazed by that you actually paid attention and cared about them. The other thing that we do is we give Starbucks gift cards. So whenever we're going shopping, our team will hand out Starbucks gift cards to the managers or the people that are helping out. going the extra mile to make sure that we are really helped through the whole process of buying at their store. This is crazy. We've had people cry on us just by getting a Starbucks gift card. And I guess that lady was just having a really, really rough day. And when she got a Starbucks gift card, she really was amazed. Cash flow. This is something I can't stress enough about. This is going to decide whether you can grow or not grow your business. Cash flow is king. Knowing exactly how long your product's going to sit there, how long it's going to take to turn, and if it doesn't turn in that amount of time, what are you going to do with it? So in that 90-day window or 60-day window or that 180-day window or 365-day window that you choose for that product, you need to know how long it's going to take to get that money back and what you're willing to put up front for that cash. That's such an important thing in your business, and it's really the main thing on whether you're going to be able to scale your business. Now, I know I've talked over broad things in our business, but really the biggest thing is really building your relationships, knowing what's going on in your business at all times, build your vision, show what your team is about, because a lot of people get scared of handing over the business to people and having employees, especially in retail arbitrage. And if you realize not everyone wants to run their own business. So there's a ton of people out there that just want to work and earn money by working because they don't want the stress of running their own business. And that's something that we as entrepreneurs often forget, is that we think everyone else is just like us. Well, in reality, it's not the case. So I really want to be here for you guys. So now I'm going to open up to help you or answer any questions that you have with retail arbitrage or struggles or pain points. So what are some things that y'all struggle with on a day-to-day basis? He said, when you started growing, who was my first hire? My first hire was this girl I met at a swim team in Jacksonville, Florida. So the first hire was, he asked what was she? She was a prepper. So the first person that we hired is a prepper. And really because I needed to replace myself. I needed to make sure that I could step out of the business and constantly work on growing the business. So if I'm prepping product, the business isn't growing. Now, if I can move myself or replace myself with someone that's prepping to now where I'm more focused on buying, and then now we've replaced the buying side of the business. Kim?
What have been your biggest pain points when you're growing, and how did you solve them?
Biggest pain points while growing. Letting go was a huge one, because we've had people straight up 100% copy and become our direct competition. It was actually one of my best employees and one of our first employees. He straight up, this guy was an interesting guy. He was a drug guy. He was a druggie. He had a really big problem with drugs, and he basically got saved. He was a Christian, newborn Christian, and so we gave him a shot at working for us, and that was probably one of the biggest struggles ever, was going through that trust issue and breaking my trust completely in someone, and that was probably my biggest pain point. Also, cash flow. Cash flow has always been a huge pain point. If you're trying to double every year and reinvesting your money, you are always going to be stricken on cash. It's never going to be there for you.
So, knowing that you've had one really bad employee situation, what did you that, and how do you avoid that with the people that you interview in the future? Because you have a team of 10 or more.
Yes.
What did you learn from that, and how did you apply that so it hasn't happened again?
So one, building the vision and building a community. So building that community in your business is really, really important. Is that because people want to be part of that vision, part of that community, and really want to grow with you as a culture. Because a lot of people, most people, like to be involved with other people, and be part of something bigger than themselves. And so that's what we did. And we made sure that we were building a vision, basically. Now, also, we have non-competes now. So we have all of our guys sign non-competes and make sure that they're not going to just go and run off and do the exact same thing that we teach them.
I know you said you were focusing on RA, so sorry about this, but I do OA,
Okay.
and I'm a newer seller with a smaller capital.
Okay.
What do you think is it reasonable to use a prep center at this point?
Yes, I would say so. If you are a one-man show, I would say a prep center is awesome for you, especially because if you're willing to take that loss on that, say $1.50 or $1 to $1.50 to $2, or whichever prep center you use, or even less than, on using a prep center, I think it's worth it, because then you can just focus on more buying. Now, if you rather hire in-house and have a person prep and do everything, then don't use a prep center. Just hire someone, hire your brother, your sister, your friend. Yeah. What other pain points have y'all had with your business as an RA business?
Two-part question. Will you break down for us, you said you pay on the gross profit.
Yes.
Will you break that down for us? And then second thing is, give us an example, primarily doing what you did last month at 700 and whatever thousand.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of profit margins after you pay your employees are you seeing?
Yeah, so first question, we pay our, you asked how we structure our commission, right? Oh, so gross profit, I'm pulling this from the supplier profitability tab on Inventory Lab, and that provides all of the profitability for that person. So I have it sorted by, when you go into making your SKU on Inventory Lab, you put in, say, Nike. Well, then we would put Nike, then underscore Raymond, and then that would be the supplier, because the supplier isn't the same as the SKU. And so, because you can't have multiple of the same SKUs, right? So you just want to make sure that Inventory Lab has recognition of your supplier. That way you can separate each person buying the same stuff, right? So we pay our guys off the gross profit right now. That's why it's so little. That's why we only pay 12%, because we're taking, Inventory Lab claims that they take out the return if a product is returned, but I still have yet to see any data on that. So that's why there's only getting 12%. Oh, second question. Gross profit. We're typically in between 20 and 22% gross profit. Our net profit is right around 12%.
Hi, thanks for sharing your wisdom and insights. As far as paying shoppers, do you give them, I know you're paying them an hourly and a commission, but do you give them some minimums? You have to spend $500 an hour or $1,000 a day. Do you have any kind of minimums that you give them?
We do not, because most of our guys are very internally motivated. So most of our guys, and also as a commission buyer, you are basically choosing on how much you want to work. So our most efficient buyer and our top buyer, his name's Raymond. He's the Asian guy in that picture, the white shirt. He'll spend, say, $60,000 in a 2-day in like a Saturday and Sunday, but he's super efficient. So he hires people underneath him to help him, and that's as like day labor. And so he knows that, look, I'm going to be able to spend 60 grand in the next 48 hours, and I'm going to make $6 grand if I pay each person $100 for each day.
So first question for me personally, I'm right now, and I'm trying to transition to an S.
Yeah.
It's like you're tripping, you're paying way too much taxes. Is that pretty simple, like for you? Because it's just an unconscious barrier I have. It's very simple to do, right?
It's relatively simple. We outsourced it. I don't know anything about that kind
Amen.
of stuff.
Time outsource, man.
Anything I don't know or not comfortable with, I'm gonna hand to someone that's a professional in that, no matter what.
Okay.
Speak up and I'll say it back.
Yeah, Mike's just cutting out for a reason. Okay, and then the next question would be, a lot of people up here probably have the same question about counterfeit.
Yeah.
You get hit with the counterfeit claim,
Yeah.
and you address it in a very simple way. Could you explain how you get them and how often you actually get them with the volume that you do?
We get them pretty rarely. I would say several times a week we get a counterfeit claim or a inauthentic claim. Now, this is something that's going to be all the time in your business as a retail arbitrage seller. We have basically a platform or a template that we use for every single inauthentic. So as soon as a inauthentic comes in, we copy that exact email from Amazon, and then we attach the receipt, and we highlight on the receipt the UPCs and circle it. Also circle the date, also circle the location of the store, also circle our payment method, also circle the transaction at the bottom. And so all of that we send in, and we try to send in that same day. At the end of the day, I think Amazon just wants to see that you're actively on top of your inauthentic claims. So they want you to be proactive on your, as soon as you get an inauthentic claim, try to send it in that same day, as quickly as possible. And because they want to see that you're on top of your stuff. If you just let it slide and let it slip, that's when it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of weird. It hurts my stomach, you know? But yeah, we use a template.
So all of your employees, they do everything. They shop, prep, ship. Yeah.
So now we're to the point, like when we were small, when we only had a couple of people, yes. We only had, when we first hired, I would have a prepper, and then I would be buying. That was when we first started growing. Then it got to the point where we needed a buyer and a prepper. And so oftentimes there would be more buying than prepping. And so I would give the prepper an opportunity to go buy. So that's what we have it set up now too, is like say Nike Friends and Family, all of our whole crew goes and shops. And so that way gives them an opportunity to, one, get like a bonus, earn commission, and then, yeah, I think that if they work hard, if they are faster than the buyers and prepping, they can go earn commission also. The question was, are the buyers given specific lists to buy? And no, they're not. They go out and source and find product. So it's kind of like they build their relationships at their stores, and once they build that relationship, they're hit up instantly on when to come in, when it's a good time. Most managers even know what products are even good by the time, once you build such a good relationship, and they'll just hold it in the back for you. Like our ASICS guy really hooks us up, our Converse guy really hooks us up, and those are just awesome for us, you know.
So how do you deal with an employee that might, like a bad buy? Like does they get negative commission on that then?
No.
Or do they take it back to the store? And what do you do with like returns you get from your shoes that are worn and stuff?
So we use, so the first question, if an employee makes a bad purchase, this happens all the time. And so obviously if you're doing this all the time, you're not making money and you're gonna run out and your business is gonna fail. Now, we have also a double checking process. So our guy that shops will never be the guy that's scanning in. So the guy that's scanning in is always double checking the rank and making sure it's a good product to be sent out. Also, the prepper is also double checking the quality of the product. And so we have a return pile that we return products to the store, and yeah, that's what we do. We just have a return pile, and then we make, say like on a big shopping weekend, we'll take a ton back. Because the store doesn't care if you make returns as long as you're buying a lot. So if you buy a ton of stuff, they're like, okay, you can give us returns. We don't care. But if you go in there and just load them up with $1,000 worth of returns, they're gonna be like pissed, because then it looks horrible on their day of their sales. What was the second question now? Oh yeah.
two questions. One piggybacking off that.
Yeah.
When you have that return pile, well, I guess you're not. Does that go against some metric with your employees? Like, do you watch who's buying the stuff you have to return and get them a talking to if they need it?
Yeah.
And the second question is, I know you do a lot of RA, OA. What categories? What are your strong categories? Are there categories you won't sell in? Like, what do you sell?
So first question is yes. So as soon as that person has their own cart of all their bad buys, so they are responsible. That person is responsible for their own bad buys. Also, I forgot to say on the last one, the guys that are buying, they don't get paid unless it sells. So it doesn't do them any good if they buy bad product. And so if they buy a bad product, they're not getting paid. And we're not going to send it out. We're going to put it in the return pile, and they're going to return it. To the second one, categories we sell in. So we have shoes, sports and outdoors, kitchen. I'd say sports and outdoors and clothing and apparel are our biggest categories. But we sell basically anything that if it has margins. We have grocery, we have toys and games, we have basically anything that is possible. I'm sure you guys are hitting up Toys R Us. If you're not, there's tons of money to be made on Toys R Us right now. Yeah.
We got two questions. First one goes back to the counterfeit issue or inauthentics.
Yeah.
How are you keeping track of that receipt or locating it? I mean, because it's with the volume you do, you got just receipt crazy.
Great
right?
question.
Yeah.
Let me answer that before you go to the next one, because that's
Yeah.
so we have our process, and we're tweaking it now. So initially, the guys come in, and they drop off their stuff, and then they scan in their receipt to Evernote. So they scan it into Evernote, and then you can basically pull up that receipt at any time on Evernote. So now we're switching to the point where the guy that brings it in, each bag is tagged with that person. So let's say Garland is a shopper. Garland goes in, he has his name, the store, the date, and time written on every single bag that he brings in. Now, this is cumbersome towards the buyer. They're going to spend time in the store writing down everything that they need to know on that receipt. But that's the only way that the person that's in the warehouse or garage, because when you're small, it's not a big deal. But when you're moving tons of product, it gets confusing real quick. And so the person in the warehouse needs to know exactly whose that was. And because now, before we were just labeling labels on top of it as soon as the person drops off. Well, now we label each bag. Each bag is tagged with the receipt, date, person, and store. And then that is traveled with them as it's processed in the warehouse. So as it's processed in the warehouse, that same tag is also the same, that title will match what is scanned in Evernote. So that way you can instantly search that receipt when you're checking the prices for your batch. Second question.
Second question is probably pretty easy. For your buyers, are they using gift cards, credit cards? What are they funding their purchases with?
It just depends. Most of the time it's credit cards, but we try to get as many gift cards as possible, just because we know that the gift cards we're saving extra money, instantly increasing our bottom line profit. We have a good relationship with Gift Cards In. Gift Cards In calls us whenever they get cards in. The question was, do they use their own credit cards? I really don't like them to. And there are times where they will use their own personal credit cards, but I tell them not to, and they know the risk that they're taking if they do use their own credit card. But no, I have an Amex card, and then that Amex has like 100 plus, or I have unlimited employee cards I can put on that Amex, and so they all have an Amex basically.
So Inventory Lab only shows you the profit after the item sells.
Correct.
So if an item never sells, you're essentially a 100% loss, and that's never factored into the report you're running in Inventory Lab.
Right.
So how do you factor a 100% loss on an item that
towards
was
the person.
purchased but never ever sold in terms of calculating a commission.
We take it as our hit on us, because at the end of the day, it's on us on what they're buying. So if it's a bad buy, it's a bad buy, and it gets stuck there. We also liquidate it, so we'll send it to a liquidator and get as much money as we can, or we'll put it out at, or put it at break even on Amazon, and then just get the cash back and move on. Basically, our liquidator, I mean, it's okay. I mean, you're getting pennies on the dollar, but better than getting nothing. Oh, we also try to set our repricer on a method to where we sell it within 90 days is our go-to. We want to turn our inventory in 90 days. So once it gets to the 90-day mark, it's put it at a price where it will move. And if it doesn't move, it gets either pulled or liquidated.
Garland.
Yes, ma'am.
For all of you in this room, this has got to be one of the sweetest young men there is in the world. He and Max were our neighbors in Jacksonville, Florida. And they hadn't owned their own home yet. Max, I saved off the top of a roof trying to clean the gutters out.
I don't remember that.
I know you weren't around, buddy. And their first lawnmower they ever bought, I am afraid to tell you, they absolutely butchered their yard.
I did not. Max did.
Max did.
Yeah, this is his
But these
house.
two young men are the smartest and the sweetest men on the face of the earth, and they work so hard. So now I can't tell you how much we love them, like they were our own sons.
Oh.
But now my question
Yeah.
is, do you have specific margins that you give your buyers when they're sourcing on particular items, whether it be shoes or whatever? You don't go all the way across the board for the same margin, right?
Great question, and that is correct. We don't.
See, you taught me smart.
I know. You were my neighbor. So basically for shoes, we shoot for 75% return on investment or higher. Now, lately we've gone lower because the guys are more comfortable with getting a less return on investment. Now, the big thing is, or a big kicker in shoes, you're getting hit with a 13 or anywhere from 11 to 13% return rate, as in like the customer return rate. So with that in mind, that's why we try to keep it pretty high on shoes. Question was, how do we know what size to buy? We love RevSeller. Has anyone heard of RevSeller? So RevSeller is probably one of my favorite technologies on the market right now, just because it's so easy to access data on what is the most popular variation of a shoe, size-wise and also color-wise, based on the reviews of the shoe. Now, obviously, that's not any helpful for a shoe that's only been reviewed 10 times, but it gives you good data to make good decisions. Go.
What would you say is your besides the Amazon Sales Central? What other electronic platforms would you recommend for the RA person to must have in the arsenal to have success?
RevSeller is great, especially if you're having someone at the computer. Well, the question was what software would be a must-have. Basically, I love RevSeller, especially if you're having a person at the computer while you're shopping, because that's awesome. I mean, when you're shopping, you can send in to check it on RevSeller to give you data that you can't see from your phone. Like if Inventory Lab or Scoutify or someone out there that's a great software developer, a great idea would be to include variations on an app. I think that would be a game changer for a retail arbitrage person. But to answer your question, Scoutify is basically, we use Scoutify 2. I like Scoutify 1 better, but we use Scoutify 2 because it integrates with your inventory, so you know which one's which inside of it. But yeah, that's basically it. Inventory Lab's great, yeah. Yeah, we've been very happy with them. We've used them from the beginning.
So with multiple buyers and multiple stores that you're hitting repeatedly, how do you manage inventory depth and turnover?
Great question. We don't. Honestly, it all depends on the product. If it's a really, say, we have so much data based on how much we've sold in the past. So we use basically past sales data, and our guys that are buying are constantly watching what they're selling because they care about moving the product. So they're gonna constantly watch what they're selling and see what it's selling for, and they always like send in screenshots and complain if this price is too low, and then I send it to our repricer lady to make sure she fixes it, and but yeah, right now we do Restock Pro for wholesale, so we use that, but for RA wise, the guys just watch their inventory, and basically if it's moving fast, they're gonna go super deep.
This question is for you or really anybody else in the room because I'm not very technical oriented. As far as Rough Seller is great when you're in front of a computer, but it's not compatible with mobile devices. I don't
Correct.
believe. So I don't know about iPads or Surfaces or anything like that. Are there any portable products that will work with Rough Seller that you know of? Because I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you bring your computer with you. Oh, nice. Surface. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. Oh. I still prefer Rev Seller over tactical arbitrage. Sorry, tactical arbitrage. Go for it. Oh, 50% basically on everything else.
50% on what?
So on everything else. We shoot for 50%. Now the guys that are buying so the question was, I didn't finish on what ROI do we go for. So everything other than shoes, we usually shoot for 50% return on investment. Now, some of the guys buying wholesale will bring that down to say 35%, but that's on them choosing to do it that low. It's not. I don't encourage them to. They just are like, wait, why do I need it? I shouldn't pass on this product if it's killing it per month. So they'll go ahead and they're okay with that because they're getting 12% of 35%, which is usually not that much. The product really has to be a lot of volume in order for it to make sense for them to buy it.
How about the min per item and then rank for clothes, shoes?
For, you mean price point, as in like how much dollar value?
Yep, minimum you'll have your shopper buy, like item, minimum profit per item.
Minimum profit. So usually about $5 is what we shoot for, but the guys will go less than that because our prep cost in house is like right at 55 cents, and so as long as we can make money, still it's fine. Yeah, they'll go lower, but oftentimes I encourage them not to go that low.
And then rank.
Rank is very debatable, and oftentimes I'm sure you guys are seeing a lot of stranded listings or shoes that are on some stupid listing that it shouldn't be when it should be on the main listing. So rank is kind of hard to say. It's all over the place. I would say you really need to know the product and also the category. So for say shoes, I would encourage our guys for 20,000, but they'll go up to like 300,000. It just depends on the product. So like if a shoe has one variation, you know, the rank can be pretty high. But if it's 1,000 or tons of variations and it's at 50K rank, that means only you need to check on RevSeller to see which one is the best one. Yeah.
Garland, hear me?
Yes.
You mentioned a little bit about your repricer strategy because you want everything to turn in 90 days.
Yep.
Do you have that set up in like a tier system?
Tier system.
Do you
yep.
start it at, say, you want everything to at least do 50% ROI?
We start high, so we start above basically everyone, and then go down incrementally weekly. So weekly we go in and reprice, and then daily we go in and reprice some things that are like being sent in. All based on our ROI and like how long it's been there.
shop. You talked about them watching their inventory and pricing. What kind of do they have?
They have the question was, what kind of access do our employees have to our products? They have full access to our products. So they can go in and change their price if they want to.
Reprice lab?
Both. Repricer and inventory lab.
And since they're paid on profit, it probably takes at least a few weeks when they first get started to see money come rolling back. Do you start them out hourly or something until the pipeline's filled?
Yes. So as soon as the guys come on board, they're going to be hourly until their profit passes their hourly wage. I got 5 minutes, guys. What else you got?
Tell us what problems you had ungating specific items.
I'm very fortunate in that aspect because we started 3.5 years ago, or 4 years ago, so we don't really have to deal with that too much. And for those that want to get ungated, I would encourage buying an older account. That's probably the easiest way to get ungated. Buying an older account, an old Amazon account. Yes, that's the easiest way to get ungated. Probably the most hassle-free to get ungated also.
With the team of shoppers in a place like Orlando, there's a ton of shopping, but do they have territories so they don't step on each other's toes, or they all just run wild, buy the same stuff from same stores? Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Survival of the fittest, baby. Let's go.
Good.
You mentioned about older account. Do you actually sell on multiple accounts or have one account?
We have multiple accounts.
That's what I thought.
So recently, I mean, with the brown shoe boxes, I don't know if anyone does brown shoe boxes here. No, you're smart because brown shoe boxes. So we would transfer, say half box Nikes into a full box, a full brown generic box. And so when we transfer them, we transfer the label over too. And when that came out about like the brown boxes being an official thing of not doing anything or like against terms of service, we got an old account and just do brown boxes on that one and just gonna let it ride until it gets shut down.
Can you give a quick window of how you ramp an employee up from the time you hire to when they're full commission, selling, doing their own thing?
I would say it's just you gotta really focus on the personality of the person you're having hired, because you want them to be motivated, right? So you gotta prove to them and show to them that they can earn a ton of money by being a shopper. Oh. So the question was, do we spend that time out in the field with them? Yes, we do. So we kind of like hold their hand at first. So they're definitely going to be there. Like we're going to be there for them, and basically they understand and learn as they shop. So they're going to honestly ask a bunch of questions all the time, and then when that happens, we try to tell them why also. So like, why do we say that was good? And that way they can start learning on how to make a good purchase themselves.
All right, guys.
Oh,
let's
that's
give it up
it.
for Garland. Sorry, I can't keep going.